So whenever you start coding, you start with few basics, and that is hash include stdio.h. And now you can see like it's not colorful, but this one is like very colorful, right? So you go to language. Okay. Now that you're done with it, save your thing, but it has to be saved in the folder SDBA. So let's just call it hen.c. Easy. I don't want to write about it. Okay. So we have saved. And this, we have done this, and now the next thing is int main void. Now this is something that you have to do always. Okay. You start coding this thing always there. Okay. Now there are more things that you need. Okay. I'll tell you what it is. Everything slowly. So let's talk about. Let's take a very simple question. So we make use of functions. Function basically means that like I can do it. I want to do something again and again. So instead of writing it again and again, like do this again, do this again, what I can do is I can make a function, and I can just call that function, and it will do the work that I want to do. Okay, that's why we make functions. Okay, so right now we're trying to make a function for square, finding the square of a number. Okay, so you get the number 2, 4, 6, 36. Okay, something like that. Simple, very simple question. So we need we're taking long. So we need a variable. Let's say the variable is x, right? And the square would be like something in square. Okay, and we will now define a function. Now, how do we define a function? Just like this. Okay, we'll define a function called square, and square will take one value. Let's take
so you can see, okay, this is what I'm expecting.
X. Let's just call it X. I'm writing a lot of things right now, but slowly you will understand what is happening, and I'll explain everything. Okay. Now, every function needs to have a prototype, a declaration, and a use. Initialize. Okay. Prototype, this part is the prototype one. Okay. Right now I'll write it like this. So this part is the prototype one. Next is declare. So we'll declare. So we take the whole same thing. So just like how you see main, this is we define the function just like this. So we have we make another variable called long, and we call it square. And what this does is square equal to x into x. Simple. And then we return no, in this case SQ. Okay. And now that we have a function, now what we can do is let's just call it SQ. Okay, right now let's just call it something different. I'll tell you what all we can do. So now that we have a function, that function can do something. What we can do is, so variables are basically containers. Okay, container means like you will put something in this, like a value or anything. How do you put a value? You have like whenever you have an equal to sign, whatever variable you have in this side, it has no value right now.
Yes.
The value that it will have is something that you will do calculable on the right side. Okay, so SQ is equal to. So you will call the function now. Square. And
did I say this? Yes.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Raheem.
Yes. So before that, now we're taking in the value x, right? but we don't know what the value of x is. We want to take input for value of x. Take a chair.
Yeah.
Chair.
A chair.
Yeah. Okay. We need to get an input. Okay. Input means like we ask the user to give us state. Okay. So how do we get that? X equal to get float prompt.
So it won't be there. There won't be one there.
Okay. In this we can also write like enter.
Yeah, don't just say it.
Do you know this is a movie? Enter.
You never learned this. What is she?
Okay, enter the number. Okay, so we will get the value and like this and this, and now we can print.
She should use
So,
double, but that's
there are a few things you need to learn, like how things happen. You have to learn them. Like you have to learn how to write fprintf. You have to learn how to, make a function. You define the data type, you give the name, then you give how many values it will have, and then you work around. You need to learn that. This is called syntax. Okay. So now you're gonna print out something.
I finished.
Okay. LD and SQ. I'll run the code first and then I'll tell you what is happening.
Well, I'm interested to see what she did. You know, like
You have to know how to do this, and it's the same thing everywhere. Okay. GCC minus C minus wall, capital WS. Okay. And the name of your program. Dot C. This part is called compiling. Okay. Now GCC minus O. Your exe file name can be
Hey, this
anything.
isn't the text.
Okay, this is the executable file.
He's not writing the text.
This can be anything, any name. m.exe, henry.exe, peter.exe, anything. Okay, and then we get the O file.
So this is just an
We're
example.
linking the O file.
Question that
The next thing we are doing is jnlib dot O.
Nikon?
Okay. So yes, I'll tell you what it means. But you're seeing this means basically you can add more programs. Okay. This part is called linking. Now, this part is when you do this part will tell you if you have any problem in your code.
Okay, good.
Not this part, only the first one. Compilation error. It's called a compilation error. You make any problem over here, you'll get a compilation error. So we'll simply do like this, enter the number.
So the
I was gonna say
number
49.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I were to do this, and then I compile, error. So you will get it only in that part only. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, see you, Raheem.
Okay, Professor. T, yes, and I'll get everything.
Anything else? I think everything else is sorted.
Okay, again. So that's fine. Now I'll tell you what is happening. Simply, we'll go line by line. First of all, this is very important. We need to use this because this is the standard library. Okay. There are, if you remember from, okay, you can also do this Chrome. stba.info, and you go to the website, and over here you can find everything. Okay, so right now we are trying to do some functions and what do you say, like variables, right? So let's just go to this one because these are related to problems like optics and everything, but let's go to a basic one. Let's try to open it. So you can study what is happening in this. It's talking about a yeah, this one. Yes, exactly. So you can have three types of functions. Okay, a third party. You understand third party? Your own and a standard. Third party means someone else. Okay, someone like you open up GitHub and you can get other people's code, right? Something like that. So third party, made by someone else. So let's say we're writing a code, like a very big code, and Peter has some formula that we need. So that will be a third party function. So we can use his code and then we can use it for us, but that is third party. So you have third party, you can have your own functions, and there are standard functions. So in this code you can look at that there are 3 types. So this is, using this you can access your the standard function. Standard means this is part of GCC, right? Using this you can access a third party function. What is the third party function? This is the third party function. And then this is your own function, user defined function. Okay, so you have 3 types of functions now in the same program. Now why do you need this? Because of this header file. Header file basically means like a bunch of code. It has a bunch of code. You don't need to write everything on your own. You can just use the functions in it, and you can get something done. Okay, so because of this you can access this fprintf. Okay, printf, printing, right? Fprintf. Now whenever you use fprintf you need 3 things. Where you're printing it out. Standard out means the monitor. Okay, how you're printing it. Okay, and over here you mention the variable. Now let me tell you how this thing happens. This thing is kind of a different way to do it. So how fprintf works, I will tell you. So the square of the number LD is equal to, okay, so I can write hex, let me run this and tell you what is happening. So basically what is happening is it's writing down the square of the number. So whenever it gets this %LD, that means replace it with a variable. You get the next LD, replace it with the next variable. So you have one more LD, replace it with the next variable. But let's say you did this, error. You did this, error. Okay, so you have 2 of these, you give 2 variables. Okay, now what this means is the type, the data type of the variables. Okay, LD means long. If we had something that was double, we would have to write LF. That is the only difference. Now also, what is the difference between LD and LF? Basically this means comment does not get compiled, right? So LF means anything that you're having, with a decimal point. You need to write the value of pi.
Floating.
Okay, that is floating. And LD means integer. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, simple as that. So now that you have this, so you have to understand this is how fprintf is. Okay, so you can have text, you can have anything, and wherever you want to print it out, this one is the first one, this one is the second one, therefore third one, something like that, and you can print it. So this is why you're using this, so that you can use fprintf. Now second, chainlib.h. Now this is a third party. Now for accessing third party, you need to tell where you're accessing it from, right? So if you look over here, that you have a jlib type jinlib.h, right? You can open it, you can see what is inside. Okay, if you look at this, does this look familiar to something? It's a function prototype. Okay, these are function prototypes. And there is jinlib.c also available, and you will see this is where all the functions are defined. Okay, so you have get float, get fixed prompt, you have, okay, get float prompt, you have everything. So basically this is having all your, like all the work, all the definition, like how things have to happen. But what you have to use is simply this to use it. Otherwise you would have to, you know, write all of this down just to do that simple thing. Because of that function you can do this. Okay, now we have .h file. .h file is doing one thing only, and that is it has these functions prototypes, and these function prototypes are pointing towards these functions that are defined here. Okay, now ideally when you use third party files, you don't get the .c file. What you get is the .o file. Okay, now if you look at the .o file, does it make sense? You cannot decode this. Okay, we compiled, right? We got hen.o. We look at this. Can we make sense? No, right? So when you have third-party files, you will only get the .o file. That means you cannot make changes to the code. That means you can only use what is there. Okay, so you will not have .c, you will have .o, you will have .h. Through that, through .h, you can see which function you can use, how you can use, and with .o you will be able to use it. Okay, that's how it is going. So join live.h is for this. Simple as that. Now the one basic thing that is very important is that the code starts from main. Okay, if we want, we don't have to use a function. We can do everything here. Okay, let's I'll tell you how. Okay, this equal to you can simply do everything here and, you know, compile. It works, it's fine. But then let's say I want to do it again for another number. I have to write everything again. But this is a very small example. We can have a big equation, and writing down a big equation is going to take us a lot of time. So we just input the number and we get what we want. You can sit here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the use of function. Okay, now that you understand the basic code, like you can code like this also.
Yeah.
But remember, your milestone is not asking you to code like this.
Oh.
Milestone is asking you to use a function. Okay, that's a good coding habit. So now that you know this, now we'll learn how to use a function. So function needs three things: a prototyping, declaration, and using it. Okay, so this is prototype, this is declaration, okay, and this is using it. Okay, or function call. I think it's called function call. Do you remember what it's called?
Oh.
Do you remember what it's called? Can you get me my copy? That copy.
Copy.
Yeah.
What is
Notebook.
copy?
Notebook.
Oh, notebook.
Oh, we call it a copy.
Pen or not?
Yes.
You need pen.
Yes. I
The
make
mouse.
note of it. Huh?
Mouse.
So for functions, you need a prototype, call, and definition. Yes, definition.
Never culture.
Yeah, I should teach you variables before
就
this.
打主要就是看你 function comparable 要那三个都要用出。
Show me. So for variables also, for variables you need to declare initialize and simply use. You have the call first. Okay, so prototype, call, and then definition, which makes sense. Because if you look at this, this is prototype, this is function call, and this is definition. Okay, but and let me start with variables first. Declare. Declare means you declare. There's a variable x of data type long. You need to tell the data type. Okay. Then you initialize it. Initialize means giving it a value. Okay. So which you can either do something like, okay, you can give a value like that, or you can ask the user for doing that, and this is what we're doing
Or
here.
get to a prompt.
Yeah, so we can ask the user for it. And use basically means we're using it here. Okay, so declare, initialize, use. Simple as that. Okay, and for function, prototype. So the idea of prototyping is basically you're telling the program that when you, because on the the compiler starts reading from main. Everything happens from main. So okay, one by one, this line, and this line, then this line. And when it reaches this,
I should cross that over.
okay, just 2 minutes. At this point, yeah, at this point it will be like, okay, I don't know what square is. Therefore, you need to tell at the start that you will find a function called square while you're compiling line by line everything. Okay, so therefore you need to prototype. So once you have prototype, so what is happening is it reads this, then it compiles this, then it compiles this, and when it reaches this, if you look at how professor is showing the code, like in the presentations, when it reaches here, it goes here. Okay, it goes here and then it does this part. Okay, and then what is happening is this value, this x gets over here. This can be y, this can be any variable, it doesn't matter, it's just a name. So this value gets here, then it gets here, and this gets returned. So what return means is basically this gets replaced by this. Now SQ has this value, whatever it does. Okay, so that's how a function works. And we have to stop here. There is still a little bit left,
Yeah,
but